The Struggle by Miriam Teichner. Read for LibriVox.org by Sarah Jump. We all dream of being St. George's and fighting dragons amid glamour and glory and the applause of the world. But our real fights are mostly commonplace, routine battles where no great victory is ours at the end of the day. To persist in them requires quiet strength and unfaltering courage. Did you ever want to take your two bare hands and choke out of the world your big success? Beat, torn fist bleeding, pathways rugged, grand, by sheer brute strength and bigness, nothing less? So at the last, triumphant, battered, strong, you might gaze down on what you choked and beat and say, "Ah, world, you've wrought to do me wrong, and thus have I accepted my defeat." Have you ever dreamed of virile deeds and vast, and then come back from dreams with wobbly knees, to find your way, the braver vision past, by picking meekly at typewriter keys, by bending o'er a ledger day by day, by some machine-like drudging, no great woe to grapple with, slow, painful is the way, and still the bravest fight and conquer so. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Hold Fast by Everard Jack Appleton, from The Quiet Courage, read for LibriVox.org. A football coach who told his players that their rivals were too strong for them would be seeking a new position the next year. If the opposing team is formidable, he says so. If his men have their work cut out for them, he admits it. But he mentions these things as incitements to effort. Merely saying of victory that it can be won is among the surest ways of winning it. When you're nearly drowned in trouble and the world is dark as ink, when you feel yourself a-sinking 'neath the strain, and you think, "I've got to holler help," just take another breath and pretend you've lost your voice and can't complain. That's the idea. Pretend you've lost your voice and can't complain. When the future glowers at you like a threatening thundercloud, just grit your teeth and bend your head and say, "It's dark and disagreeable, and I can't help feeling blue, but there's coming sure as fate a brighter day." Say it slowly, "But there's coming sure as fate a brighter day." You have bluffed your way through ticklish situations, that I know. You are looking back on troubles past and gone. Now turn the tables, and as you have fought and won before, just bluff yourself to keep on holding on. Try it once. Just bluff yourself to keep on holding on. Don't worry if the roseate hues of life are faded out. Bend low before the storm and wait a while. The pendulum is bound to swing again, and you will find that you have not forgotten how to smile. That's the truth, that you have not forgotten how to smile. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Will by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Kathleen. Warren Hastings resolved in his boyhood that he would be the owner of the estate known as Daylesford. This was the one great purpose that unified his varied and far-reaching activities. Admire him or not, we must at least praise his pluck in holding to his purpose, a purpose he ultimately attained. You will be what you will to be. Let failure find its false content in that poor word, environment. But spirit scorns it, and is free. It masters time, it conquers space. It cows that boastful trickster chance, and bids the tyrant circumstance uncrown and fill a servant's place. The human will, that force unseen, the offspring of a deathless soul, can hew the way to any goal, though walls of granite intervene. Be not impatient in delay, but wait as one who understands. When spirit rises and commands, the gods are ready to obey. The river, seeking for the sea, confronts the dam and precipice, yet knows it cannot fail or miss. You will be what you will to be. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Game by Grantland Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Jason in Panama. Lessing said that if God should come to him with truth in one hand and the never-ending pursuit of truth in the other, and should offer him his choice, he would humbly and reverently take the pursuit of truth. Perhaps it is best that finite beings should not attain infinite success. But however remote that for which they seek or strive, they may, by their diligence and generosity, make the very effort to secure it noble. In doing this, they earn, as Pope tells us, a truer commendation than success itself could bring them. Act well thy part, there all the honor lies. Let's play it out, this little game called life, where we are listed for so brief a spell, not just to win amid the tumult rife, or where acclaim and gay applauses swell, nor just to conquer where some one must lose, or reach the goal whatever be the cost, for there are other, better ways to choose, though in the end the battle may be lost. Let's play it out as if it were a sport wherein the game is better than the goal, and never mind the detailed scores report of errors made, if each with dauntless soul but stick it out until the day is done, not wasting fairness for success or fame, so when the battle has been lost or won, the world at least can say, he played the game. Let's play it out, this little game called work, or war, or love, or what part each may draw. Play like a man who scorns to quit or shirk because the break may carry some deep flaw, nor simply holding that the goal is all that keeps the player in the contest staying, but stick it out from curtain rise to fall, as if the game itself were worth the playing. Grantland Rice. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Courage by Florence Earle Coates. Read for LibriVox.org by Melvin Lee. The philosopher Kant held himself to his habits so precisely that people set their watches by him as he took his daily walk. We may be equally constant amid worldly vicissitudes, but only a man of true courage is. 'Tis the front towards life that matters most, the tone, the point of view, the constancy that in defeat remains untouched and true. For death in patriot fight may be less gallant than a smile, and high endeavor to the gods seems in itself worthwhile. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Good Name by William Shakespeare. Read for LibriVox.org by Leonard Wilson. We should respect the good name of other people, and should safeguard our own by a high sense of honor. At the close of the Civil War, a representative of an insurance company offered Robert E. Lee the presidency of the firm at a salary of $50,000 a year. Lee replied that while he wished to earn his living, he doubted whether his services would be worth so large a sum. "We don't want your services," the man interrupted. "We want your name." "That," said Lee quietly, "is not for sale." He accepted instead the presidency of a college at $1,500 a year. Good name in man and woman, dear my lord, is the immediate jewel of their souls. Who steals my purse steals trash. 'Tis something, nothing. 'Twas mine, 'tis his, and has been slave to thousands. But he that filches from me my good name robs me of that which not enriches him, and makes me poor indeed. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Recording by Leonard Wilson of Springfield, Ohio.
Swellitis by Joseph Morris. Read for LibriVox.org by Jolie Pastor. A certain employer of large numbers of men makes it a principle to praise none of them, not because they are undeserving, and not because he dislikes to commend, but because experience has taught him that usually the praise goes to the head of the recipient, both impairing his work and making it harder for others to associate with him. A good test of a man is his way of taking commendation. He may, even while grateful, be stirred to humility that he has not done better still, and may resolve to accomplish more. Or, imitating the frog who wished to look like an ox, he may swell and swell until, figuratively speaking, he bursts. Somebody said he'd done it well, and presto, his head began to swell. Bigger and bigger the poor thing grew. A wonder it didn't split in two. In size the balloon could scarcely match it. He needed a fishing pole to scratch it. But 6.5 was the size of his hat, and it rattled around on his head at that. Good work, somebody chanced to say, and his chest swelled big as a load of hay. About himself like a rooster he crowed, of his wonderful work he bragged and blowed. He marched around like a peacock's strut, gigantic to him was the figure he cut. But he wore a very small-sized suit, and loosely it hung on him to boot. He was the chap who made things hum. He was the drumstick and the drum. He was the shirt bosom and the starch. He was the keystone in the arch. He was the access of the earth. Nothing existed before his birth. But when he was off from work, nobody knew that he was away. This is a fact that is sad to tell. It's the empty head that is bound to swell. It's the lightweight fellow who soars to the skies and bursts like a bubble before your eyes. A big man is humbled by honest praise and tries to think of all the ways to improve his work and do it well. But a little man starts of himself to yell. Joseph Morris. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Cares by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. Read for LibriVox.org by Kathleen. To those who are wearied, fretted, and worried, there is no physician like nature. When our nerves are frazzled, and our sleep is unrefreshing, we can find no better antidote to the clamorous grind and frenzy of the city than the stillness and solitude of hills, streams, and tranquil stars. That man lays up for himself resources of strength, who now and then exchanges the ledger for green leaves, the factory for wild flowers, business for brook croon and bird song. The little cares that fretted me, I lost them yesterday among the fields above the sea, among the winds at play, among the lowing of the herds, the rustling of the trees, among the singing of the birds, the humming of the bees. The foolish fears of what may happen, I cast them all away among the clover-scented grass, among the new mown hay, among the husking of the corn, where drowsy poppies nod, where ill thoughts die and good are born, out in the fields with God. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Faith by Edward Rowland Sill. Read for LibriVox.org by Melvin Lee. Anyone who has ridden across the continent on a train must marvel at the faith and imagination of the engineers who constructed the road. The topographical advantages seized, the grades made easy of ascent, the curves and straight stretches planned, the tunnels so carefully calculated that workmen, beginning on opposite sides of a mountain, met in the middle. And all this visualized and thought out before the actual work was begun. Faith has such foresight, such courage, whether it toils actively or can merely bide its time. The treetop high above the barren field rising beyond the night's grey folds of mist. Rest stirless where the upper air is sealed to perfect silence by the faint moon kissed. But the low branches, drooping to the ground, sway to and fro as sways funeral plume, while from their restless depths low whispers sound. We fear the darkness and the gloom. Dim forms beneath us pass and reappear, and mournful tongues are menacing us here. Then from the topmost bough falls calm reply. Hush, hush, I see the coming of the morn. Swiftly the silent night is passing by, and in her bosom rosy dawn is born. 'Tis but your own dim shadows that ye see, 'tis but your own low moans that trouble ye. So life stands, with a twilight world around. Faith turned serenely to the steadfast sky, still answering the heart that sweeps the ground, sobbing in fear, and tossing restlessly. Hush, hush, the dawn breaks o'er the eastern sea, 'tis but thine own dim shadow troubling thee. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Playing the Game by Anonymous. Read for LibriVox.org by S.K. Playing the Game. We all like the good sport, the man who plays fair and courteously and with every ounce of his energy, even when the game is going against him. Life is a game with a glorious prize, if you can only play it right. It is give and take, build and break, and often it ends in a fight. But he surely wins who honestly tries, regardless of wealth or fame. He can never despair who plays it fair. How are you playing the game? Do you wilt and whine if you fail to win in the manner you think you're due? Do you sneer at the man in case that he can and does do better than you? Do you take your rebuffs with a knowing grin? Do you laugh though you pull up lame? Does your faith hold true when the whole world's blue? How are you playing the game? Get into the thick of it, wade in, boys, whatever your cherished goal. Brace up your will till your pulses thrill, and you dare to your very soul. Do something more than make a noise. Let your purpose leap into flame. As you plunge with a cry, I shall do or die, then you will be playing the game. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
What Dark Days Do by Everard Jack Appleton. Read for LibriVox.org by Leonard Wilson. A real man does not want all his barriers leveled. He of course welcomes easy tasks, but he welcomes hard ones also. The difficult or unpleasant thing puts him on his mettle, throws him on his own resources. It gives him something of the stern joy which warriors feel in foemen worthy of their steel. Moreover, as a foil or contrast, it enables him to value more truly the good things he constantly enjoys, perhaps without perceiving them. I sorter like a gloomy day, the kind that just won't smile. It makes a fellow hump hisself to make life seem worthwhile. When sun's a-shinin' and the sky is washed out bright and gay, it ain't no job to whistle. But it is when the skies are gray. So gloomy days are good for us. They make us look about to find our blessin's, make us count the friends who never doubt. Most anyone can smile and joke and hold blue devils back when it is bright, but we must work to grin when skies are black. That's why I sorter like dark days, that put it up to me to keep the gloom from soaking in my whole anatomy. And if they never come along, my soul would surely rust. The dark days keeps my cheerfulness from dragging in the dust. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Recording by Leonard Wilson of Springfield, Ohio.
Gladness by Anna Hempstead Branch. Read for LibriVox.org by Melvin Lee. A coal miner does not need the sun's illumination. He carries his own light. The world has brought not anything to make me glad today. The swallow had a broken wing, and after all my journeying, there was no water in the spring. My friend has said me nay, but yet somehow I needs must sing as on a luckier day. Dusk falls as gray as any tear. There is no hope in sight, but something in me seems so fair that, like a star, I needs must wear a safety made of shining air between me and the night. Such inner weavings do I wear, all fashioned of delight. I need not for these robes of mine the loveliness of earth, but happenings remote and fine, like threads of dreams, will blow and shine in gossamer and crystalline, and I was glad from birth. So even while my eyes repine, my heart is clothed in mirth. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
It Won't Stay Blowed by St. Clair Adams. Read for LibriVox.org by Sarah Jump. It is easier to fail than succeed. It is easier to drift downstream than up. But just as pent steam finds an escape somewhere, so will the man who persists break at one point or another through confining circumstance. To the sniffin' pickaninny once his good old mammy said, "Your lil' black nose am drippin' from de cold dat's in your head, and your sleeve am slick and shiny like de hillside when it snows. Why don't you pump de bellers from de inside ob your nose?" "Ain't I been," the child replied to her, "a-doin' ob just dat? 'Twell I's got a tur'ble empty field right where I wears my hat. De traffic sorta naturally keeps gettin' in de road. I blow my nose a-plenty, but it won't stay blowed. What's de use of braising chickens ef they won't stay riz? What's de use of freezing sherbet if it won't stay frizz? What's de use of payin' debts off if they's gwine to stay owed? What's de use of blowin' noses ef they won't stay blowed?" This old world is sometimes jealous of the chap who means to rise. It sneers at what he's doing, or it bats him twixt the eyes. It trips him when he's careless, and it makes his way so hard. What's left of him is sinew, not a walking tub of lard. But it's only wasting effort, for by George the guy keeps on, when his hopes have crumbled round him and you'd think his faith was gone, till the world at last knocks under and it passes him a crown. Once, twice, thrice it has upset him, but he won't stay down. What cares he when out he's flattened by the cruel blow it deals? He has rubber in his shoulders and a mainspring in his heels. Let the world uncork its buffets till he's bruised from toe to crown. Let it thump him, bump him, dump him, but he won't stay down. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Rainbow by William Wordsworth. Read for LibriVox.org by S.K. The Rainbow. Our lives are not a hodgepodge of separate experiences, though they sometimes seem so. They are held together by simple things which we behold again and again with the same emotions. Thus, the man is what the boy has been, the tree is inclined in the precise direction the twig was bent. My heart leaps up when I behold a rainbow in the sky. So was it when my life began, so is it now I am a man. So be it when I shall grow old, or let me die. The child is father of the man, and I could wish my days to be bound each to each by natural piety. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Firm of Grin and Barrett by Sam Walter Foss. read for LibriVox.org by Donald Gilmore. It has been said that when disaster overtakes us, we can do one of two things. We can grin and bear it, or we needn't grin. The spirit that keeps a smile on our face when our burdens is heaviest is the spirit that will win in the long run. Many men know how to take success quietly. The real test of a man is the way he takes failure. No financial throw volcanic ever yet was known to scare it. Never yet was any panic scared the firm of Grin and Barrett. From the flurry and the fluster, from the ruin and the crashes, they arise in brighter luster, like the phoenix from his ashes. When the banks and corporations quake with fear, they do not share it. Smiling through all perturbations goes the firm of Grin and Barrett. Grin and Barrett, who can scare it? Scare the firm of Grin and Barrett. When the tide sweep of reverses smites them, firm they stand and dare it, without wailings, tears, or curses, this stout firm of Grin and Barrett. Even should their house go under in the flood and inundation, calm they stand amid the thunder, without noise or demonstration. And, when sackcloth is the fashion, with a patient smile they wear it, without petulance or passion, this old firm of Grin and Barrett. Grin and Barrett, who can scare it? Scare the firm of Grin and Barrett. When the other firms show dizziness, here's a house that does not share it. Wouldn't you like to join the business? Join the firm of Grin and Barrett. Give your strength that does not murmur, and your nerve that does not falter, and you've joined a house that's firmer than the old rock of Gibraltar. They have won a good prosperity. Why not join the firm and share it? Step, young fellow, with celerity. Join the firm of Grin and Barrett. Grin and Barrett, who can scare it? Scare the firm of Grin and Barrett. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Challenge by Jean Nett. Read for LibriVox.org by S.K. Challenge. Napoleon is reported to have complained of the English that they didn't have sense enough to know when they were beaten. Even if defeat is unmistakable, it need not be final. A battle may be lost, but the campaign won. A campaign lost, but the war won. Life, I challenge you to try me. Doom me to unending pain. Stay my hand, becloud my vision, break my heart, and then again. Shatter every dream I've cherished. Fill my heart with ruthless fear. Follow every smile that cheers me with a bitter, blinding tear. Thus, I dare you, you can try me. Seek to make me cringe and moan. Still my unbound soul defies you. I'll withstand you, and alone. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Your Mission by Ellen M. H. Gates. Read for LibriVox.org by S.K. Your Mission. One of the most often heard of sentences is, quote, I don't know what I am to do in the world, end quote. Yet very few people are ever for a moment out of something to do, especially if they do not insist on climbing to the top of the pole and waving the flag, but are willing to steady the pole while somebody else climbs. If you cannot on the ocean sail among the swiftest fleet, rocking on the highest billows, laughing at the storms you meet, you can stand among the sailors, anchored yet within the bay. You can lend a hand to help them as they launch their boats away. If you are too weak to journey up the mountain steep and high, you can stand within the valley while the multitudes go by. You can chant in happy measure as they slowly pass along. Though they may forget the singer, they will not forget the song. If you cannot in the harvest garner up the richest sheaves, many a grain both ripe and golden oft the careless reaper leaves, go and glean among the briars, growing rank against the wall, for it may be that their shadow hides the heaviest grain of all. If you cannot in the conflict prove yourself a soldier true, if where fire and smoke are thickest, there's no work for you to do, when the battlefield is silent, you can go with careful tread, you can bear away the wounded, you can cover up the dead. Do not then stand idly waiting for some greater work to do. Fortune is a lazy goddess, she will never come to you. Go and toil in any vineyard, do not fear to do and dare. If you want a field of labor, you can find it anywhere. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Victory by Miriam Teichner, read for LibriVox.org by S.K. Victory. To fail is not a disgrace. The disgrace lies in not trying. In his old age, Sir Walter Scott found that a publishing firm he was connected with was heavily in debt. He refused to take advantage of the bankruptcy law and sat down with his pen to make good the deficit. Though he wore out his life in the struggle and did not live to see the debt entirely liquidated, he died an honored and honorable man. I call no fight a losing fight. If fighting I have gained some straight new strength, if fighting I turned ever toward the light, all unallied with forces of the night, if beaten, quivering, I could say at length, I did no deed that needs to be unnamed, I fought and lost, and I'm unashamed. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Times Go by Turns by Robert Southwell. Read for LibriVox.org by Nadu. One of the greatest blessings in life is alteration. The ins become outs, the outs ins, the ups become downs, the downs ups, and so on. And it is better so. We must not get too highly elated at success, for life is not all success. We must not grow too downcast from failure, for life is not all failure. The lopped tree in time may grow again. Most naked plants renew both fruit and flower. The sorriest wight may find release of pain. The driest soil suck in some moistening shower. Time goes by turns and chances change by course. From foul to fair, from better hap to worse. The sea of fortune doth not ever flow. She draws her favors to the lowest ebb. Her tides have equal times to come and go. Her loom doth weave the fine and coarsest web. No joy so great but runneth to an end. No hap so hard but may in fine amend. Not always fall of leaf, nor ever spring, not endless night, yet not eternal day. The saddest birds a season find to sing, the roughest storm a calm may soon allay. Thus with succeeding turns God tempereth all, that man may hope to rise, yet fear to fall. A chance may win that by mischance was lost, that net that holds no great takes little fish. In some things all, in all things none are crossed. Few all they need, but none have all they wish. Unmingled joys here to no man befall. Who least hath some, who most hath never all. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Today by Thomas Carlyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Philip Gould. The past did not behold today. The future shall not. We must use it now if it is to be of any benefit to mankind. So here hath been dawning another blue day. Think, wilt thou let it slip useless away? Out of eternity this new day is born. Into eternity at night will return. Behold it aforetime, no eye ever did, so soon it forever from all eyes is hid. Here hath been dawning another blue day. Think, wilt thou let it slip useless away? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Unafraid by Everard Jack Appleton. Read for LibriVox.org by Jason in Panama. I have no fear. What is in store for me shall find me ready for it, undismayed. God grant only my cowardice may be afraid. To be afraid! Everard Jack Appleton. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Borrowed Feathers by Joseph Morris. Read for LibriVox.org by Melvin Lee. Many good, attractive people spoil the merits they have by trying to be something bigger or showier. It is always best to be oneself. A rooster one morning was preening his feathers that glistened so bright in the sun. He admired the tints of the various colors as he laid them in place one by one. Now, as roosters go, he was a fine bird, and he should have been satisfied. But suddenly there, as he marched along, some peacock feathers he spied. They had beautiful spots, and their colors were gay. He wished that his own could be green. He dropped his tail, tried to hide it away, was completely ashamed to be seen. Then his foolish mind hatched up a scheme. A peacock yet he could be. So he hopped behind a bush to undress, where the other fowls could not see. He caught his own tail between his bill, and pulled every feather out, and into the hole stuck the peacock plumes, then proudly strutted about. The other fowls rushed to see the queer sight, and the peacocks came when they heard. They could not agree just what he was, but pronounced him a funny bird. Then the chickens were angry that one of their kind should try to be a peacock, and the peacocks were mad that one with their tail should belong to a common fowl flock. So the chickens beset him most cruelly behind, and yanked his whole tail out together. The peacocks attacked him madly before, and pulled out each chicken feather. And when he stood stripped clean down to the skin, a horrible thing to the rest, he learned this sad lesson when it was too late. As his own simple self, he was best. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Keep On, Keepin' On by Anonymous. Read for LibriVox.org by Melvin Lee. The author of these homely stanzas has caught perfectly the spirit which succeeds in the rough and tumble of actual life. If the day looks kinder gloomy, and your chances kinder slim, if the situation's puzzlin', and the prospects awful grim, if perplexities keep pressin' till hope is nearly gone, just bristle up and grit your teeth, and keep on keepin' on. Frettin' never wins a fight, and fumin' never pays. There ain't no use in broodin' in these pessimistic ways. Smile just kinder cheerfully, though hope is nearly gone, and bristle up and grit your teeth, and keep on keepin' on. There ain't no use in growlin' and grumblin' all the time, when music's ringin' everywhere, and everything's a rhyme. Just keep on smilin' cheerfully if hope is nearly gone, and bristle up and grit your teeth, and keep on keepin' on. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Disappointed by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Kathleen. Those who have striven nobly and failed deserve sympathy. Sometimes they deserve also praise unreserved, in that they have refused to do something ignoble which would have led to what the world calls success. They have lived the idea which Macbeth merely proclaimed. I dare do all that may become a man. Who dares do more is none. There are songs enough for the hero who dwells on the heights of fame. I sing of the disappointed, for those who have missed their aim. I sing with a tearful cadence, for one who stands in the dark, and knows that his last, best arrow has bounded back from the mark. I sing for the breathless runner, the eager, anxious soul, who falls with his strength exhausted, almost in sight of the goal. For the hearts that break in silence, with a sorrow all unknown, for those who need companions, yet walk their ways alone. There are songs enough for the lovers who share love's tender pain. I sing for the one whose passion is given all in vain. For those whose spirit comrades have missed them on their way, I sing, with a heart o'erflowing, this minor strain today. And I know the solar system must somewhere keep in space a prize for that spent runner who barely lost the race. For the plan would be imperfect unless it held some sphere that paid for the toil and talent and love that are wasted here. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Let Me Live Out My Years by John G. Neihardt. Read for LibriVox.org by Melvin Lee. We speak of the comforts and ease of old age, but our noblest selves do not desire them. We want to do more than exist. We want to be alive to the very last. Let me live out my years in heat of blood. Let me die drunken with the dreamer's wine. Let me not see this soul house built of mud go toppling to the dust, a vacant shrine. Let me go quickly like a candlelight, snuffed out just at the heyday of its glow. Give me high noon, and let it then be night. Thus would I go. And grant that when I face the grisly thing, my song may triumph down the gray perhaps. Let me be as a tune-swept fiddle string that feels the master's melody and snaps. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Columbus by Joaquin Miller. Read for LibriVox.org by Melvin Lee. This poem pictures courage and high resolution to the terrors of an unknown sea and the mutinous dismay of the sailors. Columbus has but two things to oppose: his faith and his unflinching will. But these suffice, as they always do. In the last 4 lines of the poem is a lesson for our nation today. The seas upon which our ideals have launched us are perilous and uncharted. In some ways, our whole voyage of democracy seems futile. Shall we turn back, or shall we, like Columbus, answer the falterers in words that leap like a leaping sword? Sail on, sail on. Behind him lay the gray Azores, behind the gates of Hercules. Before him, not the ghost of shores, before him only shoreless seas. The good mate said, "Now must we pray, for lo, the very stars are gone. Brave Admiral, speak, what shall I say?" "Why say, sail on, and on. My men grow mutinous day by day, my men grow ghastly, wan, and weak." The stout mate thought of home. A spray of salt wave washed his swarthy cheek. "What shall I say, brave Admiral? Say, if we sight naught but seas at dawn." "Why, you shall say at break of day, sail on, sail on, sail on and on." They sailed and sailed, as winds might blow, until at last the blanched mate said, "Why, now not even God would know, should I and all my men fall dead. These very winds forget their way, for God from these dread seas is gone. Now speak, brave Admiral, speak and say." He said, sail on and on." They sailed, then spake the mate, "This mad sea shows his teeth tonight. He curls his lip, he lies in wait, with lifted teeth as if to bite. Brave Admiral, say but one good word. What shall we do when hope is gone?" The words leaped like a leaping sword. Sail on, sail on, sail on and on. Then pale and worn he kept his deck, and peered through darkness. All that night, of all dark nights, and then a speck. It grew, a starlit flag unfurled. It grew to be time's burst of dawn. He gained a world. He gave that world its grandest lesson. On, sail on. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Per Aspera by Florence Earle Coates. Read for LibriVox.org by Dawn Stapleton. A motto has been made of the Latin phrase per aspera ad astra, of which the translation sometimes given is through bolts and bars to the stars. Thank God a man can grow. He is not bound with the earthward gaze to creep along the ground. Though his beginnings be but poor and low, thank God a man can grow. The fire upon his altars may burn dim. The torch he lighted may in darkness fail, and nothing to rekindle it avail. Yet high beyond his dull horizon's rim, Arcturus and the Pleiades beckon him. End of poem. Recording by Dawn Stapleton.
Tit for Tat by St. Clair Adams. Read for LibriVox.org by Jason in Panama. Tit for tat. We are quick to notice obstacles, grudges, affronts. Are we equally quick to recognize the kindly influence that speed us on our way? The truth is, we are each of us a debtor to life, and as honest men we should do all we can to discharge the obligation. Life, you say, is an old curmudgeon. Yes, a thing whose heart is flint. When I ask a friendly greeting, all I get's an angry glint. Let me do it every good turn I can, my very best, still it strikes me, trips, maligns me, and denies my least request. So, you say, my patience ended, I will give it tit for tat. What a bunch of animosities is covered by your hat! All the roses life can offer bloom and beckoned to your soul, but you close your eyes to roses and in thorns lie down and roll. Life does nothing for you, sonny? What a notion you have! Say, make a little inventory of its gifts to you today. You've a house or a room to sleep in. Did you build it with your hand? If you did, who made the hammer, and who cleared for you the land? And electric lights, you use them, did you also put them there? Beefsteak, coal, your mail, shoes, street cars, do they come like rain from air? Or do countless men, far scattered, toil that you may have more ease? Stokers, hodmen, farmers, plumber, Yankees, Dagos, Japanese? Oh, that's general, you tell me, you have private blessings too. Why, your mother in your childhood slaved and wrought and lived for you. Helpful hands were all around you, hopes, fond wishes in the past. Even now each day from somewhere friendly, looks are on you cast. Though you've been both crossed and harried, you've not struggled on alone. Through the discords of endeavor comes to you an answering tone. Life has done you many favors, will you give it tit for tat? Since you've looked so much at this side, won't you have a look at that? Don't help only those who've helped you, count the rest as strangers, foes. How long now would you have lasted had all done as you propose? Many and many a benefactor you did not nor can repay. There's your mother, pass the kindness on to others, that's the way. Life it is that's given freely, unto life make due return. Whether folks are undeserving, neither seek nor wish to learn. Hit your derndest for your teammates every time you come to bat, and the world will be more happy that you give it tit for tat. St. Clair Adams. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Kingdom of Man by John Kendrick. Read for LibriVox.org by Jason in Panama. The wisest men know that the greatest world is not outside them. They could, in Shakespeare's phrase, be bounded by a nutshell, and count themselves kings of infinite space. What of the outer drear, as long as there's inner light? As long as the sun of cheer shines ardently bright? As long as the soul's a wing, as long as the heart is true, what power hath trouble to bring a sorrow to you? No bar can encage the soul, nor capture the spirit free, as long as old earth shall roll, or ours shall be. Our world is the world within, our life is the thought we take, and never an outer sin can mar it or break. Brood not on the rich man's land, sigh not for miser's gold, holding in reach of your hand the treasure untold that lies in the mines of heart, that rests in the soul alone. Bid worry and care depart, come into your own. John Kendrick. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Abu Ben Adam by Leigh Hunt. Read for LibriVox.org by Leonard Wilson. "Forgive my enemies," said the dying man to the priest. "I have none. I've killed them all." This old ideal of exterminating our enemies has by no means disappeared from the earth, but it is waning. "Live and let live" is a more modern slogan, which mounts in turn from mere toleration of other people to a spirit of service and universal brotherhood. Love of our fellow men. Has humanity reached any height superior to this? Abu Ben Adam, may his tribe increase, awoke one night from a deep dream of peace, and saw within the moonlight in his room, making it rich and like a lily in bloom, an angel writing in a book of gold. Exceeding peace had made Ben Adam bold, and to the presence in the room he said, "What writest thou?" The vision raised its head, and with a look made of all sweet accord, answered, "The names of those who love the Lord." "And is mine one?" said Abu. "Nay, not so," replied the angel. Abu spoke more low, but cheerily still, and said, "I pray thee, then, write me as one that loves his fellow men." The angel wrote and vanished. The next night it came again with a great wakening light, and showed the names whom love of God had blessed. And lo, Ben Adam's name led all the rest. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Recording by Leonard Wilson of Springfield, Ohio.
This World by Frank L. Stanton. Read for LibriVox.org by Dawn Stapleton. There is good in life and there is ill. The question is, where should we put the emphasis? This world that we're living in is mighty hard to beat. You get a thorn with every rose, but ain't the roses sweet. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Recording by Dawn Stapleton. Grey Days by Griffith Alexander. Read for LibriVox.org by Dawn Stapleton. By reckoning up the odds against us and ignoring the forces in our favour, we may indeed close the door of hope. But why not take matters the other way about? Why not see the situation clearly and then throw our own strong purpose in the scales? In the course of a battle, an officer reported to Stonewall Jackson that he must fall back because his ammunition had been spoiled by a rainstorm. "So has the enemy's," was the instant reply. give them the bayonet. This resolute spirit won the battle. Hang the grey days, the deuced pay days, the feeling blue and nothing to do days, the sit by yourself for there's nothing new days, when the cat that care killed without excuse, with your inner self crying, oh what's the use, and you wonder whatever is going to become of you, and you feel that a cipher expresses the sum of you, and you know that you'll never, oh never be clever, spite of all your endeavour or hard work whatever. Oh gee, what a mix-up you see, when you look at the world where you happen to be, where strangers are hateful and friends are a bore, and you know in your heart you will smile nevermore. Gee, kid, clap on the lid. It is all a mistake. Give your worries the skid. There are sunny days coming, succeeding the blue, and bees will be humming, making honey for you. And your heart will be singing the merriest tune, while April is bringing a May and a June. Grey days, play days, joy-bringing pay days, and heart-lifting May days. The sun will be shining in just a wee while, so smile. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Recording by Dawn Stapleton. Laugh a Little Bit by Edmund Vance Cook. Recording by Dawn Stapleton. A merry heart doeth good like a medicine. A little laughter cures many a seeming ill. Here's a motto, just your fit. Laugh a little bit. When you think your trouble hit, laugh a little bit. Look misfortune in the face, brave the bedlam's rude grimace. 10 to 1 'twill yield its place, if you just have the wit and grit, just to laugh a little bit. Keep your face with sunshine lit, laugh a little bit. All the shadows off will flit, if you have the grit and wit, just to laugh a little bit. Cherish this as sacred writ, laugh a little bit. Keep it with you, sample it, laugh a little bit. Little ills will sure betide you, fortune may not sit beside you. Men may mock and fame deride you, but you'll mind them not a whit if you laugh a little bit. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Recording by Dawn Stapleton.
A Song of Life by Angela Morgan, read for LibriVox.org by Jason in Panama. Many of us merely exist and think that we live. What we should regain at all costs is freshness and intensity of being. This need not involve turbulent activity. It may involve quite the opposite. Say not, I live, unless the morning's trumpet brings a shock of glory to your soul, unless the ecstasy that sings through rushing worlds and insects' wings sends you upspringing to your goal. Glad of the need for toil and strife, eager to grapple hands with life, say not, I live. Say not, I live, unless the energy that rings throughout this universe of fire a challenge to your spirit flings, here in the world of men and things, thrilling you with a huge desire to mate your purpose with the stars, to shout with Jupiter and Mars. Say not, I live. Say not, I live. Such were a libel on the plan blazing within the mind of God ere world or star or sun began. Say rather with your fellow man, I grub, I burrow in the sod. Life is not life that does not flame with consciousness of whence it came. Say not, I live. Angela Morgan. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Poor Unfortunate by Frank L. Stanton. Read for LibriVox.org by Sarah Jump. Things are never so bad, but they might have been worse. An immigrant into the South paid a Negro to bring him a wild turkey. The next day he complained, "You shouldn't shoot at the turkey's body, Rastus. Shoot at his head. The flesh of that turkey was simply full of shot." "Boss," said the Negro, "dem shot was meant for me." 1. His hoss went dead and his mule went lame. He lost 6 cows in a poker game. A hurricane came on a summer's day and carried the house where he lived away. Then an earthquake come when that was gone and swallered the land that the house stood on. And the tax collector, he come round and charged him up for the hole in the ground. And the city marshal, he come in view and said he wanted his street tax too. 2. Did he moan and sigh? Did he set and cry and cuss the hurricane sweeping by? Did he grieve that his old friends failed to call when the earthquake came and swallered all? Never a word of blame, he said, with all them troubles on top his head. Not him. He clumb to the top of the hill, where standing room was left him still, and baring his head, here's what he said: "I reckon it's time to get up and get. But Lord, I ain't had the measles yet." End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Trainers by Grantland Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Jason in Panama. The Trainers. To Franklin, seeking recognition and aid for his country at the French court, came news of an American disaster. "Howe has taken Philadelphia," his opponents taunted him. "Oh no," he answered, "Philadelphia has taken Howe." He shrewdly foresaw that the very magnitude of what the British had done would lull them into overconfidence and inaction, and would stir the Americans to more determined effort. Above all, he himself was undisturbed, for to the strong-hearted, trials and reverses are instruments of final success. My name is Trouble, I'm a busy bloke, I am the test of courage and of class, I bind the coward to a bitter yoke, I drive the craven from the crowning pass. Weaklings I crush before they come to fame, but as the red star guides across the night, I train the stalwart for a better game, I drive the brave into a harder fight. My name is Hard Luck, the wrecker of rare dreams. I follow all who seek the open fray. I am the shadow where the far light gleams, for those who seek to know the open way. Quitters I break before they reach the crest, but where the red field echoes with the drums, I build the fighter for the final test and mold the brave for any drive that comes. My name is Sorrow. I shall come to all to block the surfeit of an endless joy. Along the sable road I pay my call before the sweetness of success can cloy. And weaker souls shall weep amid the throng and fall before me broken and dismayed. But braver hearts shall know that I belong and take me in, serene and unafraid. My name's Defeat, but through the bitter fight, to those who know I'm something more than friend, for I can build beyond the wrath of might, and drive away all yellow from the blend. For those who quit I am the final blow, but for the brave who seek their chance to learn, I show the way, at last, beyond the foe, to where the scarlet flames of triumph burn. Grantland Rice. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Life by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by S.K. Life. Most of us have failed or gone astray in one fashion or another, at one time or another. But we need not become despondent at such times. We should resolve to reap the full benefit of the discovery of our weakness, our folly. All in the dark we grope along, and if we go amiss, we learn at least which path is wrong, and there is gain in this. We do not always win the race by only running right. We have to tread the mountain's base before we reach its height. But he who loves himself the last and knows the use of pain, though strewn with errors all his past, he surely shall attain. Some souls there are that needs must taste of wrong ere choosing right. We should not call those years a waste which led us to the light. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Toast to Merriment by James W. Foley. Read for LibriVox.org by Michael Facio. A lady said to Whistler that there were but two painters, himself and Velazquez. He replied, "Madam, why drag in Velazquez? So it is with joyousness and gloom. Both exist, but why drag in gloom? Make merry, though the day be gray. Forget the clouds and let's be gay. How short the days we linger here. A birth, a breath, and then the beer. Make merry, you and I, for when we part we may not meet again. What tonic is there in a frown? You may go up and I go down, or I go up and you, who knows the way that either of us goes. Make merry. Here's a laugh, for when we part we may not meet again. Make merry. What of frets and fears? There is no happiness in tears. You tremble at the cloud, and lo, 'tis gone, and so 'tis with our woe, full half of it but fancied ills. Make merry, 'tis the gloom that kills. Make merry, there is sunshine yet, the gloom that promised, let's forget. The quip and jest are on the wing, why sorrow when we ought to sing? Refill the cup of joy, for then we part and may not meet again. A smile, a jest, a joke, alas! We come, we wander, and we pass. The shadow falls, so long we rest in graves where is no quip or jest. Good day, good cheer, good-bye, for then we part and may not meet again. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Mistress Fate by William Rose Benet. Read for LibriVox.org by Jason in Panama. Mistress Fate. Faint heart never won fair lady. Mistress Fate herself should be courted, not with feminine finesse, but with masculine courage and aggression. Flout her power, young man. She is merely shrewish, scolding. She is plastic to your molding. She is woman in her yielding to the fire's desire's fan. Flout her power, young man. Fight her fair, strong man. Such a serpent love is this, bitter wormwood in her kiss. When she strikes, be nerved and ready. Keep your gaze both bright and steady. Chance no rapier play, but hotly press the quarrel she began. Fight her fair, strong man. Gaze her down, old man. Now no laughter may defy her, not a shaft of scorn come nigh her. But she waits within the shadows, in dark shadows very near, and her silence is your fear. Meet her world-old eyes of warning, gaze them down with courage. Can you gaze them down, old man? William Rose Benet. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Sleep and the Monarch by William Shakespeare. Recorded for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. The great elemental blessings cannot be cornered. Indeed, they cannot be bought at all, but are the natural property of the man whose ways of life are such as to retain them. In this passage a disappointed and harassed king comments on the slumber which he cannot woo to his couch, yet which his humblest subject enjoys. How many thousand of my poorest subjects are at this hour asleep! Oh, sleep, oh, gentle sleep! Nature's soft nurse, how have I frighted thee, that thou no more wilt weigh my eyelids down and steep my senses in forgetfulness? Why, rather sleep liest thou in smoky cribs, upon uneasy pallets stretching thee, and hushed with buzzing night flies to thy slumber, than in the perfumed chambers of the great, under the canopies of costly state, and lulled with sound of sweetest melody? O thou dull god, why liest thou with the vile in loathsome beds, and leavest the kingly couch a watch case or a common 'larum bell? Wilt thou upon the high and giddy mast seal up the ship boy's eyes, and rock his brains in cradle of the rude imperious surge, and in the visitation of the winds, who take the ruffian billows by the top, curling their monstrous heads and hanging them with deafening clamour in the slippery clouds, that with the hurly death itself awakes? Canst thou, O partial sleep, give thy repose to the wet sea boy in an hour so rude, and in the calmest and most stillest night, with all appliance and means to boot, deny it to a king? Then happy low lie down, uneasy lies the head that wears the crown. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Never Trouble Trouble by St. Clair Adams. Read for LibriVox.org by Michael Fassio. To borrow trouble is to contract a debt that any man is better without. If your troubles are not borrowed, they are not likely to be many or great. I used to hear a saying that had a great deal of pith. It gave a cheerful spirit to face existence with, especially when matters seemed doomed to go askew. 'Twas never trouble trouble till trouble troubles you. Not woes at hand, those coming are hardest to resist. We hear them stalk like giants, we see them through a mist. But big things in the brewing are small things in the brew, so never trouble trouble till trouble troubles you. Just look at things through glasses that show the evidence. One lens of them is courage, the other common sense. They'll make it clear misgivings are just a bugaboo. No more you'll trouble trouble till trouble troubles you. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Clear the Way by Charles Mackay. Read for LibriVox.org by Michael Fassio. Humanity is always meeting obstacles. All honor to the men who do not fear obstacles, but push them aside and press on. Stevenson was explaining his idea that a locomotive steam engine could run along a track and draw cars after it. But suppose a cow gets on the track, someone objected. So much the worse, said Stevenson, for the cow. Men of thought, be up and stirring, night and day. Sow the seed, withdraw the curtain, clear the way. Men of action, aid and cheer them, as ye may. There's a fount about to stream. There's a light about to gleam. There's a warmth about to glow. There's a flower about to blow. There's midnight blackness changing into gray. Men of thought and men of action, clear the way. Once the welcome light is broken, who shall say what the unimagined glories of the day? What the evil that shall perish in its ray? Aid it, hopes of honest men. Aid the dawning tongue and pen. Aid it paper, aid it type. Aid it, for the hour is ripe, and our earnest must not slacken into play. Men of thought and men of action, clear the way. Lo, a cloud's about to vanish from the day, and a brazen wrong to crumble into clay. With the right shall many more enter, smiling at the door. With the giant wrong shall fall many others, great and small, that for ages long have held us for their prey. Men of thought and men of action, clear the way. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
One Fight More by Theodosia Garrison. Read for LibriVox.org by Sarah Jump. We need not expect much of the man who, when defeated, gives way either to despair or to a wild impulse for immediate revenge. But from the man who stores up his strength quietly and bides his time for a new effort, we may expect everything. Now think you, life, I am defeated quite? More than a single battle shall be mine before I yield the sword and give the sign, and turn, a crownless outcast, to the night. Wounded, and yet unconquered in the fight, I wait in silence till the day may shine once more upon my strength, and all the line of your defenses break before my might. Mine be that warrior's blood, who, stricken sore, lies in his quiet chamber till he hears afar the clash and clang of arms, and knows the cause he lived for calls for him once more, and straightway rises, whole and void of fears, and armed turns him singing to his foes. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Psalm of Life by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, read for LibriVox.org by Kathleen. At times this existence of ours seems to be meaningless. Whether we have succeeded or whether we have failed appears to make little difference to us, and therefore effort seems scarcely worthwhile. But Longfellow tells us this view is all wrong. The past can take care of itself, and we need not even worry very much about the future. But if we are true to our own natures, we must be up and doing in the present. Time is short, and mastery in any field of human activity is so long a process that it forbids us to waste our moments. Yet we must learn how to wait and endure. In short, we must not become slaves to either indifference or impatience, but must make it our business to play a man's part in life. Tell me not in mournful numbers, life is but an empty dream, for the soul is dead that slumbers, and things are not what they seem. Life is real, life is earnest, and the grave is not its goal. Dust thou art, to dust returnest, was not spoken of the soul. Not enjoyment and not sorrow is our destined end or way, but to act, that each tomorrow finds us farther than today. Art is long, and time is fleeting, and our hearts, though stout and brave, still, like muffled drums, are beating funeral marches to the grave. In the world's broad field of battle, in the bivouac of life, be not like dumb, driven cattle. Be a hero in the strife. Trust no future, howe'er pleasant. Let the dead past bury its dead. Act in the living present, heart within and God o'erhead. Lives of great men all remind us we can make our lives sublime, and, departing, leave behind us footprints on the sands of time. Footprints that perhaps another, sailing o'er life's solemn main, a forlorn and shipwrecked brother, seeing, shall take heart again. Let us, then, be up and doing, with a heart for any fate, still achieving, still pursuing, learn to labor and to wait. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Creed by Edwin Markham, read for LibriVox.org by Dawn Stapleton. Men may seem sundered from each other, but the soul that each possesses, and the destiny common to all, invest them with a basic brotherhood. There is a destiny that makes us brothers. None goes his way alone. All that we send into the lives of others comes back into our own. I care not what his temples or his creeds, one thing holds firm and fast, that into his fateful heap of days and deeds the soul of a man is cast. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Recording by Dawn Stapleton.
Battle Cry by John G. Neihart. Read for LibriVox.org by Jason in Panama. We should win if we can, but in any case we should prove our manhood by fighting. More than half beaten, but fearless, facing the storm and the night, breathless and reeling but tearless, here in the lull of the fight, I who bow not but before thee, God of the fighting clan, lifting my fists, I implore thee, give me the heart of a man. What though I live with the winners, or perish with those who fall? Only the cowards are sinners, fighting the fight is all. Strong is my foe, he advances, snapped is my blade, O Lord! See the proud banners and lances, O spare me this stub of a sword. Give me no pity, nor spare me, calm not the wrath of my foe. See where he beckons to dare me, bleeding, half beaten I go. Not for the glory of winning, not for the fear of the night. Shunning the battle is sinning, O spare me the heart to fight. Red is the mist about me, deep is the wound in my side. Coward, thou criest to flout me? O terrible foe, thou hast lied. Here with my battle before me, God of the fighting clan, grant that the woman who bore me suffered to suckle a man. John G. Neihart. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Happy Heart by Thomas Dekker, read for LibriVox.org by Jason in Panama. The Happy Heart. One of our objects in life should be to find happiness, contentment. The means of happiness are surprisingly simple. We need not be rich or high-placed or powerful in order to be content. In fact, the lowly are often the best satisfied. Isaac Walton lived the simple life and thanked God that there were so many things in the world of which he had no need. Art thou poor, yet hast thou golden slumbers? O sweet content! Art thou rich, yet is thy mind perplexed? O punishment! Dost thou laugh to see how fools are vexed, to add to golden numbers, golden numbers? O sweet content! O sweet content! Work apace, 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 apace. Honest labor bears a lovely face. Then hey nonny nonny, hey nonny nonny. Canst drink the waters of the crisped spring? O sweet content! Swimmest thou in wealth, yet sinkst in thy own tears? O punishment! Then he that patiently wants burden bears no burden bears, but is a king, a king! O sweet content! O sweet content! Work apace, 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 apace. Honest labor bears a lovely face. Then hey nonny nonny, hey nonny nonny. Thomas Dekker. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
If You Can't Go Over or Under, Go Round by Joseph Morris, read for LibriVox.org by Shanna Burns. Often the straight road to the thing we desire is blocked. We should not then weakly give over our purpose, but should set about attaining it in some indirect method. A politician knows that one way of getting a man's vote is to please the man's wife, and that one way of pleasing the wife is to kiss her baby. A baby mole got to feeling big and wanted to show how he could dig, so he ploughed along in the soft warm dirt till he hit something hard and it surely hurt. A dozen stars flew out of his snout, he sat on his haunches, began to pout, then rammed the thing again with his head. His grandpap picked him up half dead. "Young man," he said, "though your pate is bone, you can't butt your way through solid stone. This bit of advice is good, I've found, if you can't go over or under, go round." A traveller came to a stream one day, and because it presumed to cross his way and wouldn't turn round to suit his whim and change its course to go with him, his anger rose far more than it should, and he vowed he'd cross it right where he stood. A man said there was a bridge below, but not a step would he budge or go. The current was swift and the bank was steep, but he jumped right in with a violent leap. A fisherman dragged him out half drowned. When you can't go over or under, go round. If you come to a place that you can't get through or over or under, the thing to do is to find a way round the impassable wall, not say you'll go your way or not at all. You can always get to the place you're going if you'll set your sails as the wind is blowing. If the mountains are high, go round the valley. If the streets are blocked, go up some alley. If the parlour car's filled, don't scorn a freight. If the front door's closed, go in the side gate. To reach your goal, this advice is sound. If you can't go over or under, go round. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Thick is the Darkness by William Ernest Henley. Read for LibriVox.org by Dawn Stapleton. How many of us forget when the sun goes down that it will rise again? Thick is the darkness, sunward, O sunward, rough is the highway, onward, still onward. Dawn harbours surely east of the shadows, facing us somewhere spread the sweet meadows. Upward and forward, time will restore us, light is above us, rest is before us. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Recording by Dawn Stapleton.
The Belly and the Members by William Shakespeare. Read for LibriVox.org by Jason in Panama. The Belly and the Members, adapted from Coriolanus. No doubt the world is cursed with grafters and parasites, men who live off the body economic and give nothing substantial in return. But an appearance of uselessness is not always proof of such. We should not condemn men in ignorance. As old as Aesop is the fable of the rebellion of the other members of the body against the idle unproductiveness of the belly. In this passage the fable is used as an answer to the plebeians of Rome, who have complained that the patricians are merely an encumbrance. There was a time when all the body's members rebelled against the belly, thus accused it, that only like a gulf did it remain in the midst of the body, idle and unactive, still cupboarding the viand, never bearing like labour with the rest, where the other instruments did see and hear, devise, instruct, walk, feel, and mutually participant, did minister unto the appetite and affection common of the whole body. Note me this, good friend, your most grave belly was deliberate, not rash like his accusers, and thus answered, True is it, my incorporate friends, quoth he, that I receive the general food at first, which you do live upon, and fit it is, because I am the storehouse and the shop of the whole body. But if you do remember, I send it through the rivers of your blood, even to the court, the heart, to the seat of the brain, and through the cranks and offices of man, the strongest nerves and small inferior veins from me receive that natural competency whereby they live. Though all at once cannot see what I do deliver out to each, yet I can make my audit up, that all from me do back receive the flower of all, and leave me but the bran. What say you to it? William Shakespeare. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Celestial Surgeon by Robert Louis Stevenson. Read for LibriVox.org by S.K. The Celestial Surgeon. We may acquire the resolution to be happy by resting on a bed of roses. If that fails us, we should try a bed of nettles. If I have faltered more or less in my great task of happiness, if I have moved among my race and shown no glorious morning face, if beams from happy human eyes have moved me not, if morning skies, books and my food and summer rain knocked on my sullen heart in vain, Lord, thy most pointed pleasure take, and stab my spirit broad awake. Or, Lord, if too obdurate I, choose thou before that spirit die, a piercing pain, a killing sin, and to my dead heart run them in. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Man, Bird, and God by Robert Browning. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. Robert Bruce, despairing of his country's cause, was aroused to new hope and purpose by the sight of a spider casting its lines until at last it had one that held. In the following passage the poet, uncertain as to his own future, yet trusts the Providence which guides the birds in their long and uncharted migrations. I go to prove my soul. I see my way as birds their trackless way. I shall arrive. What time, what circuit first, I ask not. But unless God send his hail or blinding fireballs, sleet or stifling snow, in some time, his good time, I shall arrive. He guides me and the bird in his good time. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
His Ally by William Rose Benet. Read for LibriVox.org by Melvin Lee. The thought of this poem is that a man's best helper may be that which gives him no direct aid at all, a sense of humor. He fought for his soul, and the stubborn fighting tried hard his strength. One needs 7 souls for this long requiting, he said at length. 6 times have I come where my first hope jeered me, and laughed me to scorn. But now I fear, as I never feared me, to fall forsworn. God, when they fight upright, and at me I give them back, even such blows as theirs that combat me. But now, alack! They fight with the wiles of fiends, escaping and underhand. 6 times, O God, and my wounds are gaping. I reel to stand. 6 battles span. By this gasping breath, no pantomime. 'Tis all that I can. I am sick unto death, and a 7th time. This is beyond all battle's soreness. Then his wonder cried, for laughter with shield and steely harness stood up at his side. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Submission by Miriam Teichner. Read for LibriVox.org by Melvin Lee. There are times when the right thing to do is to submit. There are times when the right thing is to strive, to fight. To put forth one's best effort is itself a reward. But sometimes it brings a material reward also. The frog that after falling into the churn found that it couldn't jump out and wouldn't try, was drowned. The frog that kept leaping in brave but seemingly hopeless endeavor at last churned the milk, mounted the butter for a final effort, and escaped. Submission? They have preached at that so long, as though the head bowed down would right the wrong, as though the folded hand, the coward heart, were saintly signs of soul sublimely strong, as though the man who acts the waiting part and but submits had little wings astart. But may I never reach that anguished plight where I at last grow weary of the fight. Submission, wrong of course, must ever be because it ever was. 'Tis not for me to seek a change, to strike the maiden blow. 'Tis best to bow the head and not to see. 'Tis best to dream that we need never know the truth, to turn our eyes away from woe. Perhaps, but I pray for keener sight, and may I not grow weary of the fight. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Prayer by Theodosia Garrison. Read for LibriVox.org by S.K. A Prayer. Garibaldi, the Italian patriot, said to his men, quote, I do not promise you ease, I do not promise you comfort. I promise you hardship, weariness, suffering. but I promise you victory." End quote. I do not pray for peace, nor ask that on my path the sounds of war shall shrill no more, the way be clear of wrath. But this I beg thee, Lord, steel thou my heart with might, and in the strife that men call life, grant me the strength to fight. I do not pray for arms, nor shield to cover me. What though I stand with empty hand, so it be valiantly. Spare me the coward's fear, questioning wrong or right. Lord, among these mine enemies, grant me the strength to fight. I do not pray that thou keep me from any wound, though I fall low from thrust and blow, forced fighting to the ground. But give me wit to hide my hurt from all men's sight, and for my need, the while I bleed, Lord, grant me strength to fight. I do not pray that thou shouldst grant me victory, enough to know that from my foe I have no will to flee. Beaten and bruised and banned, flung like a broken sword, grant me this thing for conquering, let me die fighting, Lord. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Stability by William Shakespeare. Read for LibriVox.org by Michael Fazio. Whom do we wish for our friends and allies? On whom would we wish to depend in a time of need? Those who are not the slaves of fortune, but have made the most of both her buffets and her rewards. Those who control their fears and rash impulses, and do not give way to sudden emotion. Amid confusion and disaster, men like these will stand, as Jackson did at Bull Run, like a veritable stone wall. Since my dear soul was mistress of her choice, and could of men distinguish, her election hath sealed thee for herself. For thou hast been as one, in suffering all, that suffers nothing, a man that fortune's buffets and rewards, hast ta'en with equal thanks, and blessed are those whose blood and judgment are so well commingled, that they are not a pipe for fortune's finger, to sound what stop she please. Give me that man that is not passion's slave, and I will wear him in my heart's core, aye, in my heart of heart, as I do thee. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Bars of Fate by Ellen M. H. Gates. Recorded for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. "There ain't no such beast!" ejaculated a farmer as he gazed at the rhinoceros at a circus. His incredulity did not, of course, do away with the existence of the creature, but our incredulity about many of our difficulties will do away with them. They exist chiefly in our imagination. I stood before the bars of fate, and bowed my head disconsolate. So high they seemed, so fierce their frown, I thought no hand could break them down. Beyond them I could hear the songs of valiant men who marched in throngs, and joyful women, fair and free, looked back and waved their hands to me. I did not cry, "Too late! Too late!" or strive to rise, or rail at fate, or pray to God. My coward heart, contented, played its foolish part. So still I sat, the tireless bee sped o'er my head with scorn for me, and birds who build their nests in air beheld me as I were not there. From twig to twig before my face the spiders wove their curious lace, as they a curtain fine would see between the hindering bars and me. Then sudden change! I heard the call of wind and wave and waterfall. From heaven above and earth below a clear command, "Arise and go!" I upward sprang in all my strength, and stretched my eager hands at length to break the bars. No bars were there. My fingers fell through empty air. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Ultimate Act by Henry Bryan Binns. Read for LibriVox.org by Jason in Panama. Ultimate act. It is well to have purposes we can carry out. It is also well to have purposes so lofty that we cannot carry them out. For these latter are the mighty inner fires which warm our being at its core, and without which our impulse to do even the lesser things would be feeble. I had rather cut man's purpose deeper than achieving it to be crowned as conqueror. To will divinely is to accomplish more than a mere deed. It fills anew the wan aspect of life with blood. It draws upon sources beyond the common reach and lore of mortals, to replenish at its core the God impassioned energy of man. And herewith all the worlds of deed and thought quicken again with meaning, pulse and thrill with deity, that had forgot his touch. There is not any act avails so much as this invisible wedding of the will with life, yea, though it seem to accomplish naught. Henry Bryan Binns. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
He Whom a Dream Hath Possessed by Seamus O'Sheill. Read for LibriVox.org by Madhu. The man possessed by a vision is not perplexed, troubled, restricted as the rest of us are. He wanders, yet is not lost from home, sees a million dawns, yet never night descending, faces death and destruction, and in them finds triumph. He whom a dream hath possessed knoweth no more of doubting, for mist and the blowing of winds and the mouthing of words he scorns, not the sinuous speech of schools he hears, but a nightly shouting. And never comes darkness down, yet he greeteth a million morns. He whom a dream hath possessed knoweth no more of roaming. All roads and the flowing of waves and the speediest flight he knows, but wherever his feet are set, his soul is forever homing. And going he comes, and coming he heareth a call and goes. He whom a dream hath possessed knoweth no more of sorrow. At death and the dropping of leaves and the fading of suns he smiles, for a dream remembers no past and scorns the desire of a morrow, and a dream in a sea of doom sets surely the ultimate isles. He whom a dream hath possessed treads the impalpable marches. From the dust of the day's long road he leaps to a laughing star, and the ruins of worlds that fall he views from eternal arches, and rides God's battlefield in a flashing and golden car. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Success by Burton Braley. Read for LibriVox.org by Jason in Panama. Success. As necessity is the mother of invention, strong desire is the mother of attainment. If you want a thing bad enough to go out and fight for it, work day and night for it, give up your time and your peace and your sleep for it, if only desire of it makes you quite mad enough never to tire of it, makes you hold all other things tawdry and cheap for it, if life seems all empty and useless without it, and all that you scheme and you dream is about it, if gladly you'll sweat for it, fret for it, plan for it, lose all your terror of God or man for it, if you'll simply go after that thing that you want, with all your capacity, strength, and sagacity, faith, hope, and confidence, stern pertinacity, if neither cold poverty, famished and gaunt, nor sickness nor pain of body or brain, can turn you away from the thing that you want, if dogged and grim you besiege and beset it, you'll get it. Burton Braley. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Play the Game by Henry Newbolt. Read for LibriVox.org. This recording is by Nadu. Play the game. The Duke of Wellington said that the Battle of Waterloo was won on the cricket fields of Eton. English sport at its best is admirable. It asks outward triumph, if possible, but far more it asks that one do his best till the very end and treat his opponent with courtesy and fairness. The spirit thus instilled at school has again and again been carried in after life into the large affairs of the nation. There's a breathless hush in the close tonight, 10 to make and the match to win, a bumping pitch and a blinding light, an hour to play and the last man in. And it's not for the sake of a ribboned coat, or the selfish hope of a season's fame, but his captain's hand on his shoulder smote, play up, and play the game. The sand of the desert is sodden red, red with the wreck of a square that broke. The Gatling's jammed and the colonel dead, and the regiment's blind with dust and smoke. The river of death has brimmed his banks, and England's far and honor a name. But the voice of a schoolboy rallies the ranks. Play up, and play the game. This is the word that year by year, while in her place the school is set, every one of her sons must hear, and none that hears it dare forget. This they all, with a joyful mind, bear through life like a torch in flame, and falling, fling to the host behind. Play up, and play the game. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Man Who Frets at Worldly Strife by Joseph Rodman Drake. Lord, what fools these mortals be, exclaims Puck in A Midsummer Night's Dream. And well might the fairy marvel who seeks folk vexing themselves over matters that 9 times out of 10 come to nothing. Much wiser is the man who smiles at misfortunes, even when they are real ones and affect him personally. Charles Lamb once cheerfully helped to hiss off the stage a play he himself had written. The man who frets at worldly strife grows sallow, sour, and thin. Give us the lad whose happy life is one perpetual grin. He, Midas-like, turns all to gold. He smiles when others sigh, enjoys alike the hot and cold, and laughs though wet or dry. There's fun in everything we meet, the greatest, worst, and best. Existence is a merry treat, and every speech a jest. So, come what may, the man's in luck who turns it all to glee, and laughing cries with honest Puck, Good Lord, what fools ye be. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Serenity by Lord Byron, recorded for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. Calmness of mind to face anything the future may have in store is expressed in this quatrain. Here's a sigh to those who love me, and a smile to those who hate, and whatever sky is above me, here's a heart for every fate. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Here's Hopin' by Frank L. Stanton, read for LibriVox.org by Sarah Jump. An optimist has been described as a man who orders oysters at a restaurant and expects to find a pearl to pay the bill with. This, of course, is not optimism, but brazen brainlessness. Yet somehow the pearls come only to those who expect them. Year ain't been the very best. Purty hard by trouble pressed, but the rough way leads to rest. Here's hopin'. Maybe craps way short. The rills couldn't turn the silent mills, but the lights behind the hills. Here's hopin'. Where we planted roses sweet, thorns came up and pricked the feet, but this old world's hard to beat. Here's hopin'. P'raps the buildin' that we planned 'gainst the cyclone couldn't stand, but thank God we've got the land. Here's hopin'. Maybe flowers we hope to save have been scattered on a grave, but the heart's still beatin' brave. Here's hopin'. That we'll see the mornin' light, that the very darkest night can't hide heaven from our sight. Here's hopin'. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Cleon and I by Charles Mackay, read for LibriVox.org by Jason in Panama. Cleon and I. Toward the end of the yacht race in which the America won her historic cup, the English monarch, who was one of the spectators, inquired, "Which boat is first?" "The America seems to be first, your majesty," replied an aide. "And which is second?" asked the monarch. "Your majesty, there seems to be no second." So it is in the race for happiness. The man who is natural, who is open and kind of heart, is always first. The man who is merely rich or sheltered or proud is not even a good second. Cleon hath 1,000,000 acres, ne'er a one have I. Cleon dwelleth in a palace, in a cottage I. Cleon hath a dozen fortunes, not a penny I. Yet the poorer of the twain is Cleon, and not I. Cleon, true, possesses acres, but the landscape I. Half the charm to me it yieldeth money cannot buy. Cleon harbors sloth and dullness, freshening vigor I. He in velvet, I in fustian, richer man am I. Cleon is a slave to grandeur, free as thought am I. Cleon fees a score of doctors, need of none have I. Wealth surrounded, care environed, Cleon fears to die. Death may come, he'll find me ready, happier man am I. Cleon sees no charm in nature, in a daisy I. Cleon hears no anthems ringing in the sea and sky. Nature sings to me forever, earnest listener I. State for state, with all attendants, who would change? Not I. Charles Mackay. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Pessimist by Ben King. Recorded for LibriVox.org by S.K. The Pessimist. Most of our ills and troubles are not very serious when we come to examine the realities of them. Or perhaps we expect too much. An old Negro was complaining that the railroad would not pay him for his mule, which it had killed, nay, would not even give him back his rope. "What rope?" he was asked. "Why, sir," answered he, "the rope that I tied the mule on the track with." Nothing to do but work, nothing to eat but food, nothing to wear but clothes to keep one from going nude. Nothing to breathe but air, quick as a flash it's gone, nowhere to fall but off, nowhere to stand but on. Nothing to comb but hair, nowhere to sleep but in bed, nothing to weep but tears, nothing to bury but dead. Nothing to sing but songs, ah, well, alas, alack, nowhere to go but out, nowhere to come but back. Nothing to see but sights, nothing to quench but thirst, nothing to have but what we've got, thus through life we are cursed. Nothing to strike but a gait, everything moves that goes, nothing at all but common sense can ever withstand these woes. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Problem to be Solved by St. Clair Adams, read for LibriVox.org by Jason in Panama. There are irritating, troublesome people about us. Of what use is it to be irritating in our turn, or to add to the trouble? Most offenders have their better side. Our wisest course is to find this, and upon the basis of it, build up a better relationship. There's a fellow in your office who complains and carps and whines till you'd almost do a favor to his heirs and his assigns. But I'll tip to you a secret, and this chap's of course involved. He's no foeman to be fought with, he's a problem to be solved. There's a duffer in your district whose sheer cussedness is such He has neither pride nor manners, no, nor gumption overmuch. 'Twould be great to up and tell him where to go. But be resolved, he's no foeman to be fought with, just a problem to be solved. This old earth's, I'm sometimes thinking, one menagerie of freaks. Folks invested with abnormal lungs or brains or galls or beaks. But we're not just shrieking monkeys in a dim, vast cage revolved. We're not foemen to be fought with, merely problems to be solved. St. Clair Adams. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Prospice by Robert Browning. Read for LibriVox.org by Michael Fassio. Here the poet looks forward to death. He does not ask for an easy death. He does not wish to creep past an experience which all men sooner or later must face, and which many men have faced so heroically. He has fought well in life. He wishes to make the last fight, too. The poem was written shortly after the death of Mrs. Browning, and the closing lines refer to her. Fear death? To feel the fog in my throat, the mist in my face. When the snows begin and the blasts note, I am nearing the place. The power of the night, the press of the storm, the post of the foe. Where he stands, the arch fear in a visible form, yet the strong man must go. For the journey is done and the summit attained, and the barriers fall, though a battle's to fight ere the guerdon be gained, the reward of it all. I was ever a fighter, so one fight more, the best and the last. I would hate that death bandaged my eyes and forbore, and bade me creep past. No, let me taste the whole of it, fare like my peers, the heroes of old, bear the brunt, in a minute pay glad life's arrears of pain, darkness, and cold. For sudden the worst turns the best to the brave, the black minutes at end, and the elements rage, the fiend voices that rave, shall dwindle, shall blend, shall change, shall become first a peace out of pain, then a light, then thy breast. O thou soul of my soul, I shall clasp thee again, and with God be the rest. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Greatness of the Soul by Alfred Tennyson. Read for LibriVox.org by Jason in Panama. The Greatness of the Soul. Geologists tell us that in the long processes of the ages, mountains have been raised and leveled, continents formed and washed away. Astronomers tell us that in space are countless worlds, many of them doubtless inhabited, perhaps by creatures of a lower type than we, perhaps by creatures of a higher. The magnitude of these changes and of these worlds makes the imagination reel. But on one thing we can rely, the greatness of the human soul. On one thing we can confidently build, the men whose spirit is lofty, divine. For though the giant ages heave the hill and break the shore, and evermore make and break, and work their will, though world on world in myriads roll round us, each with different powers, and other forms of life than ours, what know we greater than the soul? On God and godlike men we build our trust. Alfred Tennyson. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Heinelet by Gamaliel Bradford. Read for LibriVox.org by Sarah Jump. What sheer perseverance can accomplish, even in matters of the heart, is revealed in this little poem written in Heine's mood of mingled seriousness and gaiety. He asked if she ever could love him. She answered him no, on the spot. He asked if she ever could love him. She assured him again she could not. He asked if she ever could love him. She laughed till his blushes he hid. He asked if she ever could love him. By God, she admitted she did. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Stand Forth by Angela Morgan. Read for LibriVox.org by S.K. Stand forth. The human spirit can triumph over difficulties as flowers bloom along the edge of the alpine snow. Stand forth, my soul, and grip thy woe, buckle the sword and face thy foe. What right hast thou to be afraid when all the universe will aid? 10,000 rally to thy name, horses and chariots of flame. Do others fear? Do others fail? My soul must grapple and prevail. My soul must scale the mountain side, and with the conquering army ride. Stand forth, my soul. Stand forth, my soul, and take command. 'Tis I, thy master, bid thee stand. Claim thou thy ground and thrust thy foe. Plead not thine enemy should go. Let others cringe, my soul is free. No hostile host can conquer me. There lives no circumstance so great can make me yield or doubt my fate. My soul must know what kings have known, must reach and claim its rightful throne. Stand forth, my soul. I ask no truce, I have no qualms, I seek no quarter and no alms. Let those who will obey the sod. My soul sprang from the living God. 'Tis I, the King, who bid thee stand. Grasp with thy hand my royal hand. Stand forth. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Lions and Ants by Walt Mason. Read for LibriVox.org by S.K. Lions and Ants. Once a hunter met a lion near the hungry critter's lair, and the way that lion mauled him was decidedly unfair. But the hunter never whimpered when the surgeons with their thread sewed up 47 gashes in his mutilated head. And he showed the scars in triumph, and they gave him pleasant fame, and he always blessed the lion that had camped upon his frame. Once that hunter, absent-minded, sat upon a hill of ants, and about 1,000,000 bit him, and you should have seen him dance. And he used up lots of language of a deep magenta tint, and apostrophized the insects in a style unfit to print. And it's thus with worldly troubles, when the big ones come along, we serenely go to meet them, feeling valiant, bold, and strong. But the weary little worries, with their poisoned stings and smarts, put the lid upon our courage, make us grey and break our hearts. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Life Not to Death by Alfred Tennyson. Recorded for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. Sometimes life is so unsatisfying that we think we should like to be rid of it. But we really are not longing for death. We are longing for more life. Whatever crazy sorrow saith, no life that breathes with human breath has ever truly longed for death. 'Tis life whereof our nerves are scant. O life, not death, for which we pant, more life and fuller that I want. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Unmusical Soloist, Joseph Morris. Read for LibriVox.org. In any sort of athletic contest, a man who individually is good, perhaps even of the very best, may be a poor member of the team because he wishes to do all the playing himself and will not cooperate with his fellows. Every coach knows how such a man hashes the game. The same thing is true in business or in anything else where many people work together. A really capable man often fails because he hogs the center of the stage and wants to be the whole show. to seek petty, immediate triumphs, instead of earning and waiting for the big, silent approval of one's own conscience and of those who understand, is a mark of inferiority. It is also a barrier to usefulness, for an egotistical man is necessarily selfish, and a selfish man cannot cooperate. Music hath charms, at least it should. Even a homely voice sounds good, that sings a cheerful, gladsome song, that shortens the way however long. A screechy fife, a bass drum's beat, is wonderful music to marching feet. A scratchy fiddle or banjo's thump may tickle the toes till they want to jump. But one musician fills the air with discords that jar folks everywhere. A pity it is he ever was born, the discordant fellow who toots his own horn. He gets in the front where all can see. Now turn the spotlight right on me, he says, and sings in tones sonorous his own sweet hallelujah chorus. Refrain and verse are both the same, the pronoun I or his own name. He trumpets his worth with such windy tooting that louder it sounds than cowboys shooting. This man's a nuisance wherever he goes, for the world soon tires of the chap who blows. Whether mighty in station or hoer of corn, unwelcome's the fellow who toots his own horn. The poorest woodchopper makes the most sound. A poor cook clatters the most pans around. The rattling spoke carries least of the load, and jingling pennies pay little that's owed. A rooster crows but lays no eggs. A braggart blows but drives no pegs. He works out of harmony with any team, for others are skim milk and he is the cream. The world, so far as he can see, consists of a few other folks and me. He richly deserves to be held in scorn, the ridiculous fellow who toots his own horn. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
On Down the Road by Grantland Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Michael Fazio. Hazlitt said that the defeat of the Whigs could be read in the shifting and irresolute countenance of Charles James Fox, and the triumph of the Tories in Pitt's aspiring nose. The empires of the Montezumas are conquered by men who, like Cortez, risk everything in the enterprise, and make retreat impossible by burning their ships behind them. Hold to the course, though the storms are about you. Stick to the road where the banner still flies. Fate and his legions are ready to rout you. Give 'em both barrels, and aim for the eyes. Life's not a rose-bed, a dream or a bubble, a living in clover beneath cloudless skies. And fate hates a fighter who's looking for trouble, so give 'em both barrels, and shoot for the eyes. Fame never comes to the loafers and sitters. Life's full of knots and a shifting disguise. Fate only picks on the cowards and quitters, so give 'em both barrels and aim for the eyes. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Meetin' Trouble by Everard Jack Appleton. Read for LibriVox.org by Melvin Lee. Some students of biology planned a trick on their professor. They took the head of one beetle, the body of another of a totally different species, the wings of a third, the legs of a fourth. These members they carefully pasted together. Then they asked the professor what kind of bug the creature was. He answered promptly, "A humbug. Just such a monstrosity is trouble, especially future trouble. Some things about it are real, but the whole combined menace is only an illusion, not a thing which actually exists at all. Face the trouble itself. Give no heed to that idea of it, which invests it with 100 dire calamities. Trouble in the distance seems all fired big, sorter makes you shiver when you look at it a-comin'. Makes you wanter edge aside, hide, take a swig of something that is sure to set your worried head a-hummin'. Trouble in the distance is a mighty scary feller, but wait until it reaches you afore you start to beller. Trouble standin' in the road and frownin' at you, black, makes you feel like takin' to the weeds along the way. Wish to goodness you could turn and hump yourself straight back, knowin' 'twill be awful when he gets you close at bay. Trouble standin' in the road is bound to make you shy, but wait until it reaches you afore you start to cry. Trouble face to face with you ain't pleasant, but you'll find that it ain't one half as big as fust it seemed to be. Stand up straight and bluff it out. Say, I got her mind to shake my fist and scare you off. You don't belong ter me. Trouble face to face with you, though you mayn't feel gay, laugh at it as if you was, and it'll sneak away. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Press On by Park Benjamin. Read for LibriVox.org by Melvin Lee. The spirit that has tamed this continent is the spirit which says, press on. It appeals not so much to men in the mass as to individuals. There is only one way for mankind to go forward. Each individual must be determined that, come what will, he will never quail or recede. Press on. Surmount the rocky steps, climb boldly o'er the torrent's arch. He fails alone who feebly creeps, he wins who dares the hero's march. Be thou a hero, let thy might tramp on eternal snows its way, and through the ebon walls of night hew down a passage unto day. Press on. If once and twice thy feet slip back and stumble, harder try. From him who never dreads to meet danger and death, they're sure to fly. To coward ranks the bullet speeds, while on their breasts who never quail gleams guardian of chivalric deeds, bright courage like a coat of mail. Press on. If fortune play thee false today, tomorrow she'll be true. Whom now she sinks, she now exalts, taking old gifts and granting new. The wisdom of the present hour makes up the follies past and gone. To weakness, strength succeeds, and power from frailty springs. Press on, press on. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
My Creed by S. E. Kaiser. Read for LibriVox.org by S.K. My Creed. We all have a philosophy of life, whether or not we formulate it. Does it end in self, or does it include our relations and the duties to our fellows? General William Booth of the Salvation Army was once asked to send a Christmas greeting to his forces throughout the world. His life had been spent in unselfish service. Over the cable he sent but one word: others. This is my creed: to do some good, to bear my ills without complaining, to press on as a brave man should for honors that are worth the gaining, to seek no profits where I may, by winning them, bring grief to others, to do some service day by day in helping on my toiling brothers. This is my creed: to close my eyes to little faults of those around me, to strive to be, when each day dies, some better than the morning found me, to ask for no unearned applause, to cross no river until I reach it, to see the merit of the cause before I follow those who preach it. This is my creed: to try to shun the sloughs in which the foolish wallow, to lead where I may be the one whom weaker men should choose to follow, to keep my standards always high, to find my task and always do it. This is my creed. I wish that I could learn to shape my action to it. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Cooperation by J. Mason Knox. Read for LibriVox.org by Philip Gould. We must all hang together, or assuredly we shall all hang separately, Benjamin Franklin is reported to have said at the signing of the Declaration of Independence. It ain't the guns, nor armament, nor funds that they can pay, but the close cooperation that makes them win the day. It ain't the individual, nor the army as a whole, but the everlasting teamwork of every bloomin' soul. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Noble Nature by Ben Jonson. Read for LibriVox.org by Jason in Panama. There is a deceptive glamour about mere bigness. Quality may accompany quantity, but it need not. In fact, good things are usually done up in small parcels. I could eat you at a mouthful, roared a bulky opponent to the small and sickly Alexander H. Stevens. If you did, replied Stevens quietly, you'd have more brains in your belly than ever you had in your head. It is not growing like a tree in bulk doth make man better be, or standing long an oak 300 year, to fall a log at last dry, bald, and sere. A lily of a day is fairer far in May, although it fall and die that night. It was the plant and flower of light. In small proportions we just beauties see, and in short measures life may perfect be. Ben Jonson. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Days of Cheer by James W. Foley. Read for LibriVox.org by Alec Larson. Edison says that genius is 2 parts inspiration, 98 parts perspiration. So happiness is 2 parts circumstance, 98 parts mental attitude. Feelin' fine, he used to say, come a clear or cloudy day, wave his hand and shed a smile, keepin' sunny all the while. Never let no bugbears grim get a wrastle hold of him. Kep' a smilin' rain or shine, tell ya he was feelin' fine. Feelin' fine, he used to say, wave his hand and go his way. Never had no time to lose, so he said, fighting blues. Had a twinkle in his eye, always when a-goin' by, sorta smile up into mine, tell me he was feelin' fine. Feelin' fine, he'd always say, and the sunshine seemed to stay close by him, or else he shone with some sunshine of his own. Didn't seem no clouds could dim any happiness for him. Allus seemed to have a line out for gladness, feelin' fine. Feelin' fine, I've heard him say 6 times a day, and as many times I knowed he was bearin' up a load, but he never let no grim troubles get much hold on him. Kept his spirits just like wine, bubblin' up and feelin' fine. Feelin' fine, I hope he'll stay all this 60 that away, lettin' his demeanor be such as you could have or me, ef we tried, and went along, spillin' little drops o' song, lettin' rosebuds sorter twine o'er the thorns, and feelin' fine. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
De Sunflower Ain't de Daisy by Anonymous. Read for LibriVox.org by Jordan Watts. Know yourself, said the Greeks. Be yourself, bade Marcus Aurelius. Give yourself, taught the master. Though the third precept is the noblest, the first and second are admirable also. The second is violated on all hands. Yet to be what nature planned us, to develop our own natural selves, is better than to copy those who are wittier or wiser or otherwise better endowed than we. Genuineness should always be preferred to imitation. De sunflower ain't de daisy, and de melon ain't de rose. Why is dey all so crazy to be something else that grows? Just stick to de place you're planted, and do de best ye knows. Be de sunflower or de daisy, de melon or de rose. Don't be what you ain't, just you be what you is. If you are not what you are, then you is not what you is. If you're just a little tadpole, don't yo try to be de frog. If yo are de tail, don't yo try to wag de dog. Pass the plate if you can't exhort and preach. If you're just a little pebble, don't yo try to be de beach. When a man is what he isn't, then he isn't what he is, and as sure as I am talking, he's a gwine to get his. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Daffodils by William Wordsworth, read for LibriVox.org by Kathleen. The poet in lonely mood came suddenly upon a host of daffodils and was thrilled by their joyous beauty. But delightful as the immediate scene was, it was by no means the best part of his experience. For long afterwards, when he least expected it, memory brought back the flowers to the eye of his spirit, filled his solitary moments with thoughts of past happiness, and took him once more, so to speak, into the free open air and the sunshine. Just so for us the memory of happy sights we have seen comes back again to bring us pleasure. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 I saw at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not but be gay in such a jocund company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. For oft, when on my couch I lie in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye which is the bliss of solitude, and then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Little Thankful Song by Frank L. Stanton. Read for LibriVox.org by Jason in Panama. No man is without a reason to be thankful. If he lacks gratitude, the fault lies at least partly with himself. For what are we thankful for? For this, for the breath and the sunlight of life, for the love of the child, and the kiss on the lips of the mother and wife, for roses entwining, for bud and for bloom, and hopes that are shining like stars in the gloom. For what are we thankful for? For this, the strength and the patience of toil, for ever the dreams that are bliss, the hope of the seed in the soil. For souls that are whiter from day unto day, and lives that are brighter from going God's way. For what are we thankful for? For all. The sunlight, the shadow, the song. The blossoms may wither and fall, but the world moves in music along. For simple, sweet living, 'tis love that doth teach it, a heaven forgiving, and faith that can reach it. Frank L. Stanton. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Two Raindrops, a Fable by Joseph Morris. Read for LibriVox.org by S.K. Two Raindrops. An egotist is not only selfish, he is usually ridiculous as well, for he sets us to wondering as to any possible ground for his exalted opinion of himself. The real workers do not emphasize their superiority to other people, do not even emphasize the differences, but are grateful that they may share in humanity's privilege of rendering service. Two little raindrops were born in a shower, and one was so pompously proud of his power, he got in his head an extravagant notion he'd hustle right off and swallow the ocean. A blade of grass that grew by the brook called for a drink, but no notice he took of such trifling things. He must hurry to be not a mere raindrop, but the whole sea. A stranded ship needed water to float, but he could not bother to help a boat. He leaped in the sea with a puff and a blare, and nobody even knew he was there. But the other drop, as along it went, found the work to do for which it was sent. It refreshed the lily that drooped its head, and bathed the grass that was almost dead. It got under the ships and helped them along, and all the while sang a cheerful song. It worked every step of the way it went, bringing joy to others, to itself content. At last it came to its journey's end, and welcomed the sea as an old-time friend. An ocean, it said, there could not be, except for the millions of drops like me. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. My Wage by Jesse B. Rittenhouse, read for LibriVox.org by S.K. My Wage. We may as well aim high as low, ask much as little. The world will not miss what it gives us, and our reward will largely be governed by our demands. I bargained with life for a penny, and life would pay no more. However, I begged at evening when I counted my scanty store. For life is a just employer. He gives you what you ask, but once you have set the wages, why, you must bear the task. I worked for a menial's hire, only to learn, dismayed, that any wage I had asked of life, life would have paid. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Gift by Robert Burns, read for LibriVox.org by Melvin Lee. Trust thyself, says Emerson. Every heart vibrates to that iron string. This is wholesome and inspiring advice, but there is, as always, another side to the question. Many a man falls into absurdities and mistakes because he cannot get outside of himself and look at himself from other people's eyes. We should cultivate the ability to see everything, including ourselves, from more than one standpoint. Oh, what power the giftie gie us, to see ourselves as others see us. It wad for money, a blunder free us and foolish notion. What airs in dress and gait wad lee us, and in devotion. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Prometheus Unbound by Percy Bysshe Shelley, read for LibriVox.org by Casper Nijssen. In the poem from which this excerpt is taken, Prometheus the Titan has been cruelly tortured for opposing the malignant will of Jupiter. In the end, Prometheus wins a complete outward victory. Better still, by his steadfastness and high purpose, he has won a great inward triumph. The spirit that has actuated him and the nature of his achievement are expressed in the following lines. To suffer woes which hope thinks infinite, to forgive wrongs darker than death or night, to defy power which seems omnipotent, to love and bear, to hope till hope creates from its own wreck the thing it contemplates, neither to change, nor falter, nor repent. This, like thy glory, Titan, is to be good, great, and joyous, beautiful and free. This is alone life, joy, empire, and victory. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Victory in Defeat by Edwin Markham. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. The great radiant souls of earth, the Davids, the Shakespeares, the Lincolns, know grief and affliction as well as joy and triumph. But adversity is never to them mere adversity. It doth suffer a sea change into something rich and strange. And in the crucible of character their suffering itself is transmuted into song. Defeat may serve as well as victory to shake the soul and let the glory out. When the great oak is straining in the wind, the boughs drink a new beauty, and the trunk sends down a deeper root on the windward side. Only the soul that knows the mighty grief can know the mighty rapture. Sorrows come to stretch out spaces in the heart for joy. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Richer Minds by John Kendrick Bangs. Read for LibriVox.org by Kathleen. No man is so poor but that he is a stockholder. Yet many a man has no real riches. His stocks draw dividends in dollars and cents only. When it comes to buying shares in the mines of earth, may I join the millionaires who are rich in mirth. Let me have a heavy stake in fresh mountain air. I will promise now to take all that you can spare. When you're setting up your claim in the mines of glee, don't forget to use my name. You can count on me. Nothing better can be won, freer from alloy, than a bouncing claim in consolidated joy. You can have your copper stocks, gold and tin and coal. What I'd have within my box has to do with soul. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Brave Life by Grantland Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Michael Fazio. To be absolutely without physical fear may not be the highest courage. To shrink and quake, and yet stand at one's post, may be braver still. So of success. It lies less in the attainment of some external end than in holding yourself to your purposes and ideals. For out of high loyalty and effort comes that intangible thing called character, which is no mere symbol of success, but success itself. I do not know what I shall find on out beyond the final fight. I do not know what I shall meet beyond the last barrage of night. Nor do I care, but this I know. If I but serve within the fold and play the game, I'll be prepared for all the endless years may hold. Life is a training camp at best for what may wait beyond the years, a training camp of toiling days and nights that lean to dreams and tears. But each may come upon the goal and build his soul above all fate, by holding an unbroken faith and taking courage for a mate. Is not the fight itself enough that man must look to some behest? Wherein does failure miss success if all engaged but do their best? Where does the victor's cry come in for the wreath of fame or laureled brow, if one he vanquished fought as well as weaker muscle would allow? If my opponent in the fray should prove to be a stronger foe, not of his making, but because the destinies ordained it so, if he should win and I should lose, although I did my utmost part, is my reward the less than his if he should strive with equal heart? Brave life I hold is something more than driving upward to the peak, than smashing madly through the strong and crashing onward through the weak. I hold the man who makes his fight against the raw game's crushing odds is braver than his brothers are who hold the favor of the gods. On by the skyline, faint and vague, in that far country all must know, no laurel crown of fame may wait beyond the sunset's glow. But life has given me the chance to train and serve within the fold, to meet the test and be prepared for all the endless years may hold. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Song of Tomorrow by Frank L. Stanton, read for LibriVox.org by Jason in Panama. A Song of Tomorrow. A night's sleep and a new day, these are excellent things to look forward to when one is weary or in trouble. Little bit of trouble, honey, for today. Yonder come tomorrow, shine it all away. Rainy sky is sayin' this'll never do. Fetch dem rainbow ribbons and I'll dress in blue. Frank L. Stanton. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Glad Song by Joseph Morris, read for LibriVox.org by Beth Thomas. Gladness begins with the first person, with you, but it may spread far, like the ripples when you toss a stone in the water. Sing a song, ring the glad bells all along. Smile at him who frowns at you, he will smile and then there too. Laugh a bit, folks will soon be catching it. Can't resist a happy face, world will be a merry place. Laugh a bit and sing a song, where they are there's nothing wrong. Joy will dance the whole world through, but it must begin with you. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Painting the Lily by William Shakespeare. Recorded for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. Many people are not content to let well enough alone, but spoil what they have by striving for an unnecessary and foolish improvement. If they have a rich title, they try to ornament it still further. If they have refined gold, they try to gild it. If they have a lily, they try to paint it into still purer color. Therefore, to be possessed with double pomp, to guard a title that was rich before, to gild refined gold, to paint the lily, to throw a perfume on the violet, to smooth the ice, or add another hue unto the rainbow, or with taper light to seek the beauteous eye of heaven to garnish, is wasteful and ridiculous excess. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Pretty Good World by Frank L. Stanton, read for LibriVox.org by Jason in Panama. A Pretty Good World. The world has its faults, but few of us would give it up till we have to. Pretty good world if you take it all round. Pretty good world, good people. Better be on than under the ground. Pretty good world, good people. Better be here where the skies are as blue as the eyes of your sweetheart a-smilin' at you. Better than lyin' 'neath daisies and dew. Pretty good world, good people. Pretty good world with its hopes and its fears. Pretty good world, good people. Sun twinkles bright through the rain of its tears. Pretty good world, good people. Better be here in the pathway you know, where the thorns in the garden where sweet roses grow, than to rest where you feel not the fall of the snow. Pretty good world, good people. Pretty good world, let us sing it that way. Pretty good world, good people. Make up your mind that you're in it to stay, at least for a season, good people. Pretty good world with its dark and its bright. Pretty good world with its love and its light. Sing it that way till you whisper, good night. Pretty good world, good people. Frank L. Stanton. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Ode to Duty by William Wordsworth, read for LibriVox.org by Beth Thomas. In the first stanza, the poet hails duty as coming from God. It is a light to guide us and a rod to check. To obey it does not lead to victory. To obey it is victory, is to live by a high, noble law. In the second stanza, he admits that some people do right without driving themselves to it, do it by instinct and the genial sense of youth. In stanza 3, he looks forward to a time when all people will be thus blessed, but he thinks that as yet it is unsafe for most of us to lose touch completely with stern commanding duty. In stanzas 4 and 5, he states that he himself has been too impatient of control, has wearied himself by changing from one desire to another, and now wishes to regulate his life by some great abiding principle. In stanza 6, he declares that duty, though stern, is benignant. The flowers bloom in obedience to it, and the stars keep their places. In the final stanza, he dedicates his life to its service. Stern daughter of the voice of God, O duty, if that name thou love, who art a light to guide, a rod to check the erring and reprove. Thou who art victory and law, when empty terrors overawe, from vain temptations dost set free, and calms the weary strife of frail humanity. There are who ask not if thine eye be on them, who in love and truth, where no misgiving is, rely upon the genial sense of youth. Glad hearts, without reproach or blot, who do thy work and know it not. Oh, if through confidence misplaced they fail, thy saving arms dread power around them cast. Serene will be our days and bright, and happy will our nature be, when love is an unerring light, and joy its own security. And they a blissful course may hold, e'en now who, not unwisely bold, live in the spirit of this creed, yet seek thy firm support, according to their need. I, loving freedom and untried, no sport of every random gust, yet being to myself a guide, too blindly have reposed my trust. And oft when in my heart was heard thy timely mandate, I deferred the task in smoother walks to stray, but thee I now would serve more strictly, if I may. Through no disturbance of my soul, or strong compunction in me wrought, I supplicate for thy control, but in the quietness of thought. Me this uncharted freedom tires, I feel the weight of chance desires. My hopes no more must change their name, I long for a repose that ever is the same. Stern lawgiver, yet thou dost wear the Godhead's most benignant grace, nor know we anything so fair as is the smile upon thy face. Flowers laugh before thee on their beds, and fragrance in thy footing treads. Thou dost preserve the stars from wrong, and the most ancient heavens through thee are fresh and strong. To humbler functions, awful power, I call thee, I myself commend unto thy guidance from this hour. O let my weakness have an end, give unto me, made lowly wise, the spirit of self-sacrifice. The confidence of reason give, and in the light of truth thy bondman let me live. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Syndicated Smile by St. Clair Adams, read for LibriVox.org by Jason in Panama. The Syndicated Smile. A ready and sincere friendliness is the one thing we can show to every human being, whether we know him or not. The world is full of perplexed and lonely people whom even a smile or a kind look will help. Yet that which is so easy to give we too often reserve for a few, and those perhaps the least appreciative. I knew a girl who had a beau, and his name wasn't Adams. No child of hers would ever call the present writer Daddams. I didn't love the girl, but still I found her most beguiling, and so did all the other chaps. She did it with her smiling. I'm not a one-man girl, she said, of smiles my beau first took his, but some are left I'll syndicate and pass them around like cookies. That syndicated smile, when trouble seemed the most in style, it heartened us, that indicated, syndicated smile. It's not enough to please your boss, or fawn round folks with bank rolls. Just be as friendly to the guys whose homes spun round their shank rolls. The best investment in the world is goodwill, 20 carat. It costs you nothing, brings returns, so get yours out and air it. A niggard of good nature cheats himself and wrongs his fellows. You'd serve mankind? Then be less close with friendly nods and hellos. The syndicated smile. If you have kept it all the while, you've vindicated the indicated syndicated smile. St. Clair Adams. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Fairy Song by John Keats. Read for LibriVox.org by Donald Gilmore. The great beneficent forces of life are not exhausted when once used, but are recurrent. The sun rises afresh each new day. Once a year the springtime returns and God renews his ancient rapture. So it is with our joys. They do not stay by us constantly. They pass from us and are gone. But we need not trouble ourselves. They are sure to come back. Shed no tear, oh shed no tear. The flower will bloom another year. Weep no more, oh weep no more. Young buds sleep in the root's white core. Dry your eyes, oh dry your eyes, for I was taught in paradise to ease my breast of melodies. Shed no tear. Overhead, look overhead, 'mong the blossoms white and red. Look up, I flutter now on this flush pomegranate bough. See me, 'tis the silvery bill ever cures the good man's ill. Shed no tear, oh shed no tear. The flowers will bloom another year. Adieu, adieu, I fly, adieu. I vanish in the heavens blue. Adieu, adieu. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Praise the Generous God's Forgiving by William Ernest Henley. Read for LibriVox.org by Melvin Lee. Some of us find joy in toil, some in art, some in the open air and the sunshine. All of us find it in simply being alive. Life is the gift no creature in his right mind would part with. As Milton asks, for who would lose, though full of pain, this intellectual being, these thoughts that wander through eternity, to perish rather, swallowed up and lost in the wide womb of uncreated night, devoid of sense and motion? Praise the generous God's forgiving in a world of wrath and strife, with little time for living, unto all the joy of life. At whatever source we drink it, art or love or faith or wine, in whatever terms we think it, it is common and divine. Praise the high gods for in giving this to man, and this alone, they have made his chance of living shine, the equal of their own. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Cowards by William Shakespeare. Recorded for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. We might as well accept the inevitable as the inevitable. There is no escaping death or taxes. Cowards die many times before their deaths. The valiant never taste of death but once. Of all the wonders that I have yet heard, it seems to me most strange that men should fear, seeing that death, a necessary end, will come when it will come. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.